Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You're all representatives of non-governmental organizations who are actively working in arid and semi-arid countries trying to develop to help the lot of the poor and economically backwards people. What we do at Clean Water Inc. is we provide these services to you, to the NGOs. We provide efficient, economical, and most effectively long-lasting value for your dollar in things like water conservation, rainwater harvesting, and sanitation. Let me go on and talk a little bit more about the techniques that we have worked on. Rainwater harvesting has been done for ages. What we have done is we have updated for the 21st century. We have developed processes, procedures, and training which help people develop rainwater harvesting techniques which make effective use of local materials, designed for the areas in which water falls occasionally and needs to be conserved for a long, long time. What we provide to you as a service is mastery of all the various all the various interactions that take place in rainwater harvesting. Political instability, social issues, economical issues, you don't have much money, and the fact that there's not enough water to go around in many of these places. And hundreds and hundreds of projects like this all over the world. Let me talk about two of the most important things that give you the most value for your dollar. On your left is, you will see an image of a Thai jar. A Thai jar. This is, simply put, a large container for storing water. It's been used for centuries. On your left, you will see the image of a sand dam. A sand dam. This is used by communities to conserve water in areas where there's flash floods. A lot of water comes in and a lot of water goes away. So imagine yourself living in, say, Ethiopia. In the spring rains, overnight, big rainstorm. Smell the fresh earth. Next morning, dry as a bone. Water's gone. These techniques will help the NGOs helping the people to live in areas like Ethiopia, Syria, Nigeria, conserve water. Let's talk a little bit more about Thai jars. These are meant for domestic use, for a single family. They generally store about 1 cubic meter of water. A cubic meter of water is 1,000 liters, designed for 1 month use for a family of 5. These cost about $20 to $25. In the last 5 years, for 5 persons, it's $1 per person per year. That's the value that these things provide for you. Generally self-paid, or they could be used to start a self-sustaining small business. The next water conservation technique is sand dams. Sand dams are also called weirs, or earth dams, or check dams. These actually serve the purposes of an entire community. It is meant for storing up to 5,000 cubic meters of water. The water is actually stored in between the sand, subsurface, between the sand spaces. And this is generally built by the villages themselves. They contribute 100% of the labor and half the costs. These dams cost about $15,000 to prepare, but they last for about 10 years. And they are effectively much better value for your money than the Thai jars. Now that out of the way, let me talk about the techniques that we have developed. We have taken these ancient techniques and we've improved them for the 21st century. For producing Thai jars, we've prepared a simple template to use. You take a piece of material, sacking, cotton cloth, that's 1.2 meters by 1.8 meters, and you cut it out in this shape. You sew these edges together, flip it upside down, shape of a vase, fill it with sand. Then you cover the entire surface with concrete or cement, which is about 0.5 centimeters or 5 millimeters thick, and it has to be done evenly. the expertise that we provide is in how to construct this efficiently and how to make sure that they don't leak. A finished product looks like this. This is an actual image of a Thai jar from an African village, and it serves a need for one family. Now let's go on to something more involved, sand dams. Now sand dams, because they're meant to serve the needs of an entire village, they tend to be huge. Simply put, a sand dam is a wall across a dry riverbed. What we have done is we have engineered techniques which help in developing effective walls, impermeable walls that stretch across the stream bed. The wall goes down from the subsurface impermeable bed all the way to the maximum level of the water that usually happens during flash floods. Then there is a spring storm. Water comes in, brings in a whole bunch of silt, and this silt and sand collects behind this wall. The water is trapped in between the sand particles. Now sand is non-porous, but it also has a very unique property. It stores about 70% of its weight in water. So if you take a liter of sand, it would actually contain 0.7 liters of water. And we have developed various techniques, and these techniques can be customized to various soil situations, the various techniques that, various local environmental techniques that are prevalent in whatever society that you wish to serve. Now this image is also from Africa. It shows a sand dam being constructed. Now, you may wonder, what would one do with taking this water out of the sand dam? Now, it's sand, it's waterlogged sand. You walk on it, your feet are going to get dirty. Right? You see your feet dirty. You don't want to do that. To get water out of these sand dams, we construct what are known as shallow wells. Now shallow wells is effectively just a well. You dig a hole, line it with cement or metal, and people lift the water out of the sand, out of the bottom of the well with just a bucket and water, bucket and rope, and they dump it in a trough for the animals to drink from. And these dams can store a fascinatingly large amount of water. So that concludes a detailed presentation of two techniques that we have done, Thai jars and the sand dams. Let me now talk about some of the other techniques that we have worked on. We have techniques for hydraulic water pumps, basically mechanical pumps. And we have other rainwater harvesting techniques. In tropical countries, harvested rainwater tends to become infected with algae, with insects, and other things. And we have come up with various techniques where rainwater can be effectively harvested. Solar distillation. How do you take water that has been sitting stagnant in an area and convert it for effective human consumption? Then having solar-powered water pumps, wind pumps, hand pumps. In addition to water conservation techniques, we also have a variety of sanitation techniques in our portfolio. Composted toilets, using water hyacinthus filters, using sand and other filters, very cheap and very effective, and also how to store water and supply it in sanitary conditions. So that concludes part of my presentation, and now I invite questions from the audience. Yes, sir.
What are the costs involved in this?
So,
a
sand dam costs about $15,000, serves the need of 500 people for about 10 years. So you can extrapolate that, the actual number. It comes out to about 10 cents per person per year.
Listen,
Yes, sir.
in your sand dams, how big are they? I mean, I understand how big they are, but how are they constructed?
They usually span the entire stream bed. So if you have a stream bed that's about 20 feet wide, the sand dam would be 20 feet wide and would be as high as your stream bed. So if your stream bed is 3 feet, this would be about 3 feet plus a foot under the stream bed, so 4 feet effectively, and they could be as much as 10 to 12 feet deep as well. Depends on your streams. Yes, sir.
Can you use solar distillation for salt water?
Solar distillation for salt water is not very energy efficient because salt tends to make water a little bit difficult to evaporate, and then you have the problem of water depositing on the surface that is being used for distillation, and that causes other problems. So it's not very energy efficient. This is more for fresh water that has been contaminated with other things that we can extract potable water from. Yes, sir.
So how does a Thai jar helps in water conserving? So could you say
it's a rainwater harvesting technique. So what we generally do is we advise people on constructing gutters on their existing roof surfaces and diverting that water for storage in the Thai jar. Now, the way the water is actually diverted is part of the technique. So we tend to use locally occurring materials like bamboo shoots or cheap metal tubes or various things, and then we also have various filters in the process so that initially all the dirt that has been collected in these tubes doesn't actually make its way into the water consumption jar. So we divert the initial water supply out so all the dirt goes away, and the rest of the water supply then gets stored. Yes, sir.
I'm not clear. What exactly do you want us to do?
What I would like you to do is hire us for helping us work with you in improving the lot of the people you serve. Thank you.
Yeah, but who is the audience?
NGOs, non-governmental organizations.
Non-governmental.
These are the people who have money and who want to help poor people. And you would hire us to actually do the work for you.
Okay.
That's
So where's the sales pitch?
yes,
So we already have a budget to dig for new wells.
right.
Do you think this is a better alternative? Because to me, it does not sound like a better alternative, especially in third world countries that are dependent on their monsoons.
Right. So what we have are two techniques. I've just presented two techniques that are effective in arid areas where you have flash floods, or in areas where you have a lot of rain but not enough water that stays around.
So what percentage of water could actually come from such sources?
In the communities that we have developed these two specific techniques for, 100% of the use of the water when there's no rainfall for up to a month comes from this. It's meant to store water for up to a month of supply when there's just no rain.
Our country is receiving a lot of industrial waste from the Western world.
Correct.
And I'm just wondering, with the pollution that we're getting from the industries that are jumping up, how is that going to, how do we deal with that in your system?
Water remediation is, especially of industrial wastewater, is a rather complex subject. It actually depends on the type of contaminants that are present in the water. These techniques are not meant for remediation of industrial wastewater. These are meant for conserving clean, fresh rainwater. Yes, there are places where you have a lot of contamination, soil is contaminated, and these techniques do not address that. And to tell you the truth, we do not serve the market of soil remediation of industrial wastewater. There are other people who do this, and I'd be glad to provide references for you.
How many such deployments do you have already?
Several hundred.
Where?
Africa mostly. All right.
Okay. Next question.
Here's one.
Yes.
Could you explain what the cost would be since you're asking us to pay for it?
Right. So this is where you have to calculate the value for the dollar. A rainwater, a Thai jar is $1 per person per year. So if you wish to affect say a 100-person audience, you would be spending $100 per person per year. Generally, these devices, the Thai jars, are meant for 5 years, so that would be 5 times 100.
For how many people?
That's $1 per person per year.
How many people?
So if you have 100 people, that would be $100 per person per year. $100 per year. And then for that, generally these things are meant for a 5-year period, so that you would be spending $500.
I think she's asking how many people.
I mean, what's the bottom line?
But
How many
it
people would you
depends.
like us to sponsor?
No, you have an audience that you want to sponsor people for. So suppose you have a village in Botswana that you wish to provide these techniques for, and the village has 200 people. You would be spending $1,000 for providing 5 years of potable water per family. As Toastmaster.